Welcome to WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. Apologize for being a little late. We're having some massive audio issues, but we are here. We got a loaded show. We got Gianni the Greek to join us for the Steam Report. We got Teddy Covers going to talk Tigers, Athletics, Red Sox, and Dodgers. And then Marco is going to join us to give us the WNBA fix that we all crave, and I'm going to break down, by viewer suggestion, the Ravens, and I'm going to do it right before Teddy comes on, because Teddy's been doing a bunch of NFL video breakdowns. I want to get his thoughts, see if my handicap is correct. But we have to start with the play of the day. We are going back to tennis. We lost our 5% yesterday in excruciating fashion. This is just a play I'm playing with my own money, guys. I'll probably put it up for clients. Do with it what you want, but these guys are on an absolute roll. Luz and Matos. They've been rolling. We've been betting on them all week. They've been winning. These guys really struggled in the first part of the season, but they have kicked it into high gear. This is a regular team. They don't play with anybody else. They're full-time partners, and they get a good matchup. Segerman and Trihak are outside of the top 70 in ranked. Luz and Matos are top 40 players, but it's all about current form right now. They are absolutely rolling. They're down in Los Cabos. They love the surface. So it's minus 146. I've already played it with my own money. Do with it what you want, but this is going to be the play of the day. That goes off at like 11:30 tonight. So ATP Los Cabos, Luz and Matos is your play of the day. All right. We had a really good discussion yesterday in the comments section. Somebody said, why are you complimenting Ski for hitting 56% of his bets? A lot of people jumped in and had some opinions on this. So I wanted to go over, I made some charts. I had a little discussion with the AI about the power of 56%. And so Gianni, this is right up Yanni's corner. So I'm anxious to get his take. So if you just started with $10,000 and you bet 1% of your bankroll for a full year. So if we started with $10,000, we bet $100 at the end of year one, we would have about $13,000. If somehow you miraculously did this for 20 years, you could turn your $10,000 into $3.6 million just by hitting 56% of your bets if the average odds were minus 115. So is this realistic? Absolutely not. You're not going to hit 56% of your bets for 20 years in a row. But this is just the chart that shows what you could do. And John, if we have the other chart that we can talk about, like what happens if you hit 51%. So if you hit 51% of your winners, you're down. You're losing money. Yet $10,000 bankroll goes to 8,604. 56, 13,427. And if you do insanely good, 58%, that $10,000 turns into 16,157. So it just shows you how slim the margins are. And you can see the break even is 53.49%. So let's bring in Gianni. I think most people in 2026 are aware of this. 20, 30 years ago, the average bettor wouldn't know this, but it just goes to show how slim the margins are for, losing money and winning a lot of money. So your thoughts?
No, it shows the disconnect between reality and the gambling internet and social media, and why 99.5% of sports bettors will continue to lose money. And why the same thing with day traders and investors. And it's because you want to get rich quickly. We all do. I did. Everyone has. If you're not born with money, and that is your biggest enemy, that lack of patience and that risk that you're willing to take on makes you a mathematical certainty to go broke and not be successful in this venture. Your edges are very small. With that said, that edge is enough to where you don't have to do anything but bet sports. Like, you could create a very good life for yourself, but you have to be realistic. And if you think you're going to hit 6 out of 10 bets, lane 110, you're nuts. Like, that's not going to happen. Let me end the suspense for you. Most recreational bettors, that's the problem. If you tell them that you could get rich hitting 55%, and that should actually be what you're shooting for, where out of every 1,000 bets, You hit 550, you lose 450, you add in the VIG, and you're up about 50 units every 1,000 bets. That's huge. The goal is how quickly can you keep placing those 1,000 bets, and can you repeat the process of hitting 550 out of every 1,000? If you can do that, again, you're in that 0.5% that should actually be doing this every single day and making money hand over fist by hitting 55, 56%. The fact that you have guys that are betting every single day and they don't think that hitting 55%, 56% puts you in a category, a level that is so rare. Like if you can do that over a statistically significant sample size of a couple hundred bets, like you have such an edge. It's ridiculous to me, but it hasn't changed. It's been like this 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And it's a perfect example of why this industry has a black eye and why it has such a bad name to it. Because for the longest time, there wasn't the internet. So guys couldn't come on here and explain this to novice bettors. So they couldn't advertise, hey, I'm 57% over my last 900 bets, because your average bettor looks at that and says, what does that mean? That's not impressive. Where unless, that 0.5% would see that and be like, holy shit, this guy's phenomenal. Like, where is this guy? I need his information. So what did they have to do? They had to fudge those results. They had to say, no, we were hitting 80%. We were 75%. And casual bettors have this unrealistic expectation. And when you go in with unrealistic expectation, your chance of success are nil. It's this thing. I always like to equate it to working out. It's if you go to the gym for a month and all of a sudden you don't look like you should be on the cover of Muscle and Fitness, 9 out of 10 people give up. They quit. They're like, wait, what a minute. I worked out. I did the right things. And why don't I look perfect yet? Because it doesn't take a month. It takes years. It takes a lifetime. It's the same thing, man, with sports betting. Again, you're going to hit that. If you're lucky, if you're good, if you're efficient, you're going to be able to hit about that 55, 56% range long term. And if you can continuously do that, don't let anybody tell you different. Don't let any nonsense on social media make you think you're underperforming. You are outperforming 99.5% of every bettor on the planet if you're hitting about 55% of your bets over statistical significant sample size. So again, I'm sorry to go long, but nothing is more important than the conversation just like this, because this is the disconnect that your casual bettor will see a guy that's released, that's documented 2,000 bets and he's hit 55% and he shows a profit and nobody gets excited. But then someone else shows that they're 19-2 over the last 21 and people line up to jerk them off as if he's going to keep doing that. He's going to hit 90% for the next freaking 6 years. That's the disconnect.
And that's where he's ready to go on a completely horrible losing streak.
Exactly. And over the next 21, he's probably going to go 7-14. And somewhere in the middle, he's going to be about, after about 70, 80 bets, he's going to be near 40-40.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So,
and hopefully you bought before that 10-2.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right, let's get into the Steam sheet. It's an important discussion. People want to know what you got.
It is. Risk management. Today, I'm supposed to go to the dentist today. I swear to God, I canceled my appointment because I want to buy more Tesla stock. And I don't want to spend that. That's how cheap I am. I don't want to spend that $2,500 and give it to the dentist. I'm like, I could wait. I could hold off another month or two because I don't think I'll be able to get Tesla at $300. Like this is, again, it could get to $240, $250, and maybe it does, and I buy more. But this is that chance where it's only been in this risk category like 10% of its lifetime. So I have to do what I have to do. So it's that type of day. I do have information for you, and I narrowed it down to legit stuff. Here's what I got. Quickly, WNBA. Legit. Dallas money line in up to -2.5 and the under 169. Also Atlanta -11.5 and the over 175.5, 176.5. Now, Major League Baseball, I don't have a lot of volume, even though they fired a ton, but I've seen not a lot of manipulation, a lot of scalps later in the day, because again, it's that time of the year where the market's just not getting a ton of volume. You know, you're not getting a ton of public money in there. But here's what we got as far as Major League Baseball. And they're doing well. 952 Cincinnati plus 115, 959 White Sox from 155 all the way down to plus 140, 962 under 8 Texas Houston, 964 Athletics 145 and plus 140, 965 Minnesota plus 160 plus 155, 978 LA plus 160 plus 155, and the under 10 and 9.5 in Milwaukee and LA. Again, nothing's changed. They're continuing to pick off these underdogs since the second half started. Again, losing first half, it was tough for a lot of sharp groups, but since the second half started, they've been on fire and haven't been afraid to bet some of these coin flips. That's what I've been seeing mostly. Betting small favorites or small dogs. Like you'll see the occasional bigger dog, like I said, like Minnesota, LA, but mostly it's been more like the Cincinnatis, like the plus 110s, 115s, where those coin flip type games. And it's mostly, it usually ends up opposite the public because the public's usually on that small favorite, that minus 140, minus 150 favorite. That's where they're heaviest. And I'm starting to see the sharp money piling up opposite those short favorites, and doing pretty well.
Let's move to UFC. We got a card tomorrow in Serbia.
Indeed.
Uros Medic and Daniel Rodriguez in the main event is truly something I never thought we would see. So you know me, Gianni. We have the betting theories. We bet against bad haircuts. We bet against fighters that just had a baby. This is a new one. A fighter that just did a stint in a Mexican prison. So there's no way.
I don't have a trend for that yet, but
if you don't know the story, Daniel Rodriguez is fighting in the main event. He literally spent months and months and months in a Mexican prison. He didn't have money to bail himself out. Nobody knew where he was. It turns out he partnered up with a cartel in prison as protection. He got malnourished.
Usually how it goes.
It's bonkers.
I've sent a money order to I'm even talking about that. Wow, I don't believe I just mentioned that. But yeah, it happens where you have to send it to the Aryan Brotherhood to give some protection while a friend there is sitting waiting for court.
Yeah, we've all been there. We've all
how
been
the
there.
world works.
So what are we seeing with UFC? Line moves, anything you like? This is a bonkers card. Some of these lines are just absolutely terrifying. I mean, minus 360 on Alexander Rakic. What are we doing?
It's all chalk. It's all chalk. Like all I'm seeing is chalk from the casual bettors. Like they're tying up the biggest favorites. And I'm interested to see if you see any of that public money, the sharp money come in on these underdogs. Because here's what I can tell you. Going into this week, okay, we've had 24 events, 299 UFC fights. Favorites versus the closing line are 216, 79, and 4 draw no contest. So that's 72.2% favorites, 26.4% dogs, and 1.4% draw no contest. Historically, all right, underdogs hit about 34%. That's third in major sports. Baseball and NHL are the only two sports where underdogs hit at a higher rate. So meaning underdogs win more in the UFC than they do in the NFL, more in college football, more in college basketball, more than in NBA. Underdogs are supposed to win outright more in MMA than those other sports. And yet they're at 26.4% compared to their historical average of 34%. Okay. So that's an 8% drop below history, which is more like 25% drop on what's expected. Now, we only got about 5 months left in this year. So if we're going to get a regression, it's got to happen. So don't be afraid to look at some of these ugly dogs. And one that jumps out real quickly, I wanted your opinion, is that main event. Why is Uroš Medic a 4-1 favorite against Daniel Rodriguez, who, may I just remind you, closed as a minus 250 favorite, right? Against much tougher competition. Like, didn't he would fight or was supposed to fight with Strickland? There was a line out for that. Like,
yeah.
This line just doesn't make sense to me. Again, you got D-Rod coming in off 3 straight wins. I don't get it. I mean, this looks to me like Medic is just going to knock him out in the first round. Is that what they're telling us? I mean, I know that's what he's done in 4 of his last 5 fights, and I know that's why he's the heavy favorite, and he's coming off back-to-back first-round knockouts, performance bonuses. Guys like that usually going to pay a premium, but I don't know, man. Other than D-Rod being 39 years old, this is going to be a stand-up fight. Neither guy attempts less than 1 takedown per 15 minutes. Attempt, not secures, attempts. So they're going to stand and bang. I don't know. Yeah. I just think there may be am I just that square to think there's a little bit of value on Rodriguez at better than plus 300?
Well, they know people want to bet on Medic, so the books are making you pay a premium for it. I like Medic as well, 39 years old and just coming out of prison. And you listen to him tell the story like they weren't giving him enough food. He was trying. Yeah,
it's awful. It's a bad spot. It does. It looks so awful. But the thing I can't get past is paying minus 400 for Uroš Medic, who, when you zoom out, zoom out a little bit, and what you're going to see is a guy that's 4-2 over his last 6. Like, he has been knocked out by Puna. He did get subbed by Oralby. Like, Turner subbed him. Like, he it's not as if he's on this magnificent great run throughout the UFC career. Like, I don't know. Again, he's probably going to win this fight. The line's telling me he's going to win this fight, but I just do not see how you get to that price other than the favorites have been costing the books so much money. Did he close the plus 160, 170 against Jeff Neal? He was only he closed minus 120, 130 against Salikov. Like,
yeah, I know what you're saying. The Jeff Neal fight was a very, very eye-opening thing for him in his career, because remember, Jeff Neal was like, oh, I'm done drinking. I used to drink before fights, and I'm healthy. And then Medic knocked him out. So I just think that's the narrative, and they're fighting.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
Yeah.
Because again, Ian Gary's fighting Makhachev for the title, and you're getting better money on D-Rod against Medic than you did against Ian Gary. You know what I mean? Which is a little nuts to me. But again, the favorites have been winning, Andy. So I can't fault people, number one, for betting the favorites. And more importantly, I can't fault the books for jacking these prices up so high. And I think that's why you're not seeing them climb much higher. Like you mentioned, the Rakics, the Sterlings, the Thipos, they're going to win these fights. They should win these fights. Oliveira, they should win these fights. But you're not seeing the huge line movement, I think, because they already opened them up pretty jacked. Meaning, Oban Elliott and Oliveira. Oliveira opened minus 310. You know what I mean? Now he's up to 350, what have you. Like, I think they opened them up a little with premiums attached on these favorites, and are forcing you to, if you're going to back the favorite, you're going to pay a hefty price. And that's why I think you're not seeing them get juiced too much higher. But again, I'm interested to see tomorrow morning if we see that 10 minutes before fight. Like, look at those line moves at the sharp books right before the fight and see if you see any of those big favorites drop significantly. I'm interested to see if they pile on any of these big dogs.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I always look at the line. I haven't seen anything too aggressive
Me neither.
in the markets. So, but yeah, they used to open up the books years ago, man. It was really easy to get a great number in the opening line and then the line would move. The books have just taken that first part out where,
Yeah, especially again when favorites, but they're costing them and they're cashing 11 out of 12 bets last week. With your eyes closed, you could have hit a 5, 6, 7, 8 fighter parlay.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What do you have up for everybody on Friday?
All right. The futures packages are finished and complete. NFL is combo. You get the season win totals and Super Bowl futures all in one pass with a 5%. And then in college football, I have a 6-pack, the 6 strongest season win totals, 5% there, 4%. And also my national championship future package, which I love. My big one, my 5%, my big future is greater than 10-1. And I even have a greater than 50-1 in there. Also, the first week of college football, that package is up. I know it's a month away, but again, these lines will not be here 3-4 weeks from now. I already placed the bet for that first Saturday of college football. That package is available also. And of course, tomorrow's UFC pass is up. More plays will be in there throughout today and this evening. And if I could confirm baseball, we'll do it again. Since the break, #1 in profit, over 28 units in baseball so far, coming off a nice 2-0, hit 4 of our last 5. Going to keep staying selective. And as we await football, hope we do some damage. Best of luck to all you guys, and have a good UFC tomorrow, brother.
Thanks, Gianni. Appreciate it. Gianni the Greek kicking off the show on a Friday. Appreciate you. Let's see. We lost our 5% tennis bet. I can't believe it. We won the first set. They were minus 2,000 to win. I turned it off, turned it on a little bit later and see they lose in the third set tiebreak. They just completely fell apart. I went back and watched it, hitting the balls in the net, hitting it out of bounds. Super frustrating because we beat the line. We get the first set, should be a winner. And then the next parlay leg cruises and wins. So very frustrating. But hey, that's life. We move on. We got a 5% UFC best bet that's up for tomorrow. And we've got a 4% MLB prop that is up on a 20-6 run in those. I didn't have a play in MLB yesterday. We're taking it very, very cautious and slow with MLB. I'm probably not going to have a play every day unless something jumps out. But these pitching props have just been absolute dynamite. So just a couple of week, and when the spots are perfect, and we got a great one, it's a 4% MLB play. We are still running our 30-day special at half price, $149. Get you 30 days so we can pad that bankroll. Having a really good July. We're up about 20 units, around the 20-unit mark in July. So pretty happy with that. Okay. I'm going to bring on Teddy in a second, but viewer suggestion for my NFL future is breaking down the Ravens. So I want to break down the Ravens, and we'll bring on Teddy to see if I did this correct. What a dope-ass graphic that is. I'm so proud of myself and AI. That thing is incredible. So huge number here, 11.5 wins. So let's see what we see about the Ravens. They got a new coaching regime after Harbaugh moves on. We got Jesse Minter, who's a very defensive-minded head coach. They also bring in Chicago's offensive coordinator. Just some stats. They made the playoffs 6 out of the last 8 years. Last year, Lamar was #1 in yards per completion, but he only played 13 games. He was banged up. Even though he played in those games, there was definitely something wrong with him. He wasn't the normal quick rusher that he normally is. He did play in 17 games the year before that and 16 before that. So he does play. He's somewhat durable. But last year, the lowest rushing yards and yards per rush since his rookie year. Derrick Henry's coming back. He's 32. He's still putting up big numbers. But he is truly awful on the goal line and in short yardage. It doesn't make any sense how big he is, but it takes him a while to get up to speed. And because of that, he's just not that good on the goal line and short yardage. That bit him a few times last year. They did draft a really good prospect on the offensive line. They added some new pieces. Not a lot of continuity, but it looks like they do have some pretty good talent on that offensive line. They bring back Zay Flowers and they sign Rashad Bateman to a big contract. And then they draft Jacoby Lane from USC, really tall receiver for jump balls. They did lose Isaiah Likely, but they bring back Mark Andrews. The defense, the big question with them is health. They were completely injury riddled last year. Sometimes they were putting out basically their practice squad and backups. It really cost them. They were 29th in pressuring the quarterback, and I think that's what this season comes down to. Trey Hendrickson joins them. The secondary played well, but they did give up big chunks of yards when they couldn't get pressure on the quarterback. They bring back Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, and Kyle Hamilton. Those are great pieces. They have the talent, but the defensive line has to play better. The schedule, really, really good. On paper, it's the 6th easiest schedule. I think it's a little bit better than that. They start the season Colts, Saints, Cowboys, Titans, Falcons, Browns, and Bengals. I think that's a fantastic way to get your season started when you got a new coach and a new system and some new offensive line pieces. All the division rivals, mostly they play at the end. Steelers, home Browns, at Bengals, home Steelers. The easy schedule to start the season makes it a very enticing number. It just all comes down to, is Lamar Jackson healthy? Can he stay healthy? And can they get pressure on the quarterback? 11.5 is a big number. I hate taking overs, but I like this team. I like the schedule. My lean is to the over 11.5 wins, and I don't normally take big numbers like that. All right, bringing in Teddy. Am I a sucker, Teddy, for liking 11.5 wins for the Ravens? I take so many unders, I got to take an over at some point.
So I just finished shooting a whole bunch of NFL team preview videos. We'll shoot more next week. I think we have a dozen that are coming out in the next couple of days. Baltimore was one of them. And I leaned under for the Ravens. That said, the Ravens did not make my season win report. It's a lean. It's not a play. The season win report obviously comes out today at noon. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But the lean for me for Baltimore was under, not over. And you talked about that. The opening slate really looks good. You talked about that opener where they can start 6-0. Indy, New Orleans, Dallas, Tennessee, Atlanta, Cleveland. There's not a game there where they're not big favorites. So if things break right for the Ravens out of the get-go, they'll be a team we're talking about a lot in October and November. But the schedule toughens up significantly down the stretch. I look at the defense, I see good, not great. I look at the offense, I see good, not great. I see a good team, not a great team, a 9-win team, a 10-win team, not a 12-win team. And that's just my take. That's it's not one of my stronger opinions. But if I'm playing Baltimore, I'm not playing them over. So you and I we'll have a pizza bet on this one, buddy.
Yeah, small one. It's not going to make my client card as well. So not strong takes. But let's see if we have some strong takes in Major League Baseball. We got Tigers, Athletics, Red Sox, Dodgers. Let's start with this Tigers team. You got Mize for the Tigers, Springs for the no Mize.
Mize got scratched a few minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Well, tell us who is Springs still there with his confident 6.23 ERA this year. It's a confident 6.23 ERA for him this year. So who's pitching for the Tigers?
So again, looking at the odds logic live odds screen right now, I'm seeing Detroit with an undecided starting pitcher sitting in the -140 range. Total in this game 11, juice to the under. It's another warm night in Sacramento. Although if you've been playing overs in Sacramento of late, you haven't done real well. The Athletics, they were moneymakers for me early, not lately. In spring, the ball was carrying in Sacramento, not so much in the summer. 5-0 to the under the last 5 home games for the Athletics. And this is an Athletics team right now. They're riddled with key injuries, whether it's Shea Langoliers or Brett Rooker or Zach Geloff. Those are big bats for a team that, and of course, Nick Kurtz got hit by a pitch the other night. He's in a 1-for-34 slump. He did play yesterday. I would expect him to suit up here. But, many of the Athletics' big bats are not in good form. And this is a team that, lost 10 straight series now. They pushed the 11th, the 4-game set for the Angels. They lost the 12th. Their last series win came versus Colorado on June 12th, 13th, and 14th. So it's been like 6 weeks, more than 6 weeks since this team actually won a series. You talk about Jeffrey Springs, and Springs now winless over his last 17 starts. I've watched a bunch of them. I like the way he competes. He's a tough hurler. He's just not. He's also a fly ball pitcher in a bad ballpark for fly ball pitchers. So, and of course, his last outing, just 1 1/3 innings, bombed by the Twins. I really can't back the Athletics right now. This is a team that's finding ways to lose. They just had a miserable series against the Red Sox where they had 1,000 chances and couldn't get anything done. The problem, of course, is the Tigers are struggling every bit as much. They just lost 4 or 5 to Kansas City and Baltimore at home. They blew a 7-0 lead for Tariq Skubal in what could be his last start in Detroit. It's a really demoralizing stretch for Detroit. This was a time where they were looking to make a run to avoid being sellers this weekend, and now Casey Mize has been scratched, but I believe he was scratched because I think he's going to be traded, potential trade deal. It's not like Detroit is a team that anyone's excited about backing right now either. So from a side standpoint, there's not a lot I'm going to do with this game. 2 teams I don't want. But from a total standpoint, even with the fact that I don't trust Springs, and even with the fact that the Tigers don't have a starting pitcher right now, these are not 2 lineups clicking, and this is not a ballpark where the ball's been carrying the way it was earlier in the season. Under 11 is the only way I can look for Detroit and Sacramento in this game on West Coast action on Friday night.
I may have cursed Skubal, by the way, Teddy. I went up to Detroit to meet with Johnny and Kelly and the rest of the production team, and we went. And it was Skubal bobblehead night. I was very excited. I got a Skubal bobblehead, and then immediately he's just in trade rumors. So it's like I finally get into something cool, like a Skubal bobblehead, and now he's he may not even be on the team here in a little bit. So, all right, Red Sox and Dodgers. Red Sox been probably the craziest, funnest story in MLB this year. Can they keep winning at this like breakneck pace that they have over the last month or so? What do we make of Red Sox Dodgers?
So the one word answer to that is no.
Yeah.
Let's look first at the Odds Logic live on screen. And guys, get your free trial. We keep adding new books. We keep adding more stuff. It really is. It's the best free live odds service out there at WagerTalk.com. But the best of the best is with the Odds Logic screen. If you're serious about betting, oddslogic.com/Teddy. Get a free 7-day trial. Try it for the preseason. Try it for MLB action. Again, oddslogic.com/Teddy. When we look at the number for this game, boy, we're looking at a relatively cheap price for LA, -125, -130. Has been bet up to -135 in a handful of spots here for the Dodgers. My clients and I cashed a 5% big ticket play with LA last night. It's pretty easy. I mean, the bullpen made me sweat a little bit, but they led 2-0 in the first. They led 5-0 in the fourth and kind of cruised thereafter. Today, it's a bullpen game for LA. So I thought they were way underpriced yesterday. And in many ways, I think they're underpriced today. And obviously the Dodgers may not have Ohtani. He sat yesterday, and we saw a 15, 20-cent line move in some places with Ohtani out. In my mind, that's a huge overreaction, even for an elite hitter. Their lineups can score runs in bunches when Ohtani sits. They scored 6 runs, still beat Seattle soundly. Again, that 5% big ticket cash. And part of my rationale for that bet was Dave Roberts' press conference that I watched the previous night, where he talked about the consistency of the team's effort, how the team's chemistry was coming together, the focus coming out of the All-Star break. The 2-time defending champs have the best record in baseball again this year, and it's not by accident. 6-2 their last 8 ball games. Now, Andy, you talked about how hot the Red Sox have been. They've been as hot as it is in Vegas right now. They're 25-5 their last 30 games. Huge profits if you rode this streak early and often. That said, after a team goes 25-5 over a 30-game span, they ain't doing it the next 30 games. We would expect much closer to 15-15 for the Red Sox over their next 30. And they've really been feasting on the weak of late. I just ripped the A's a minute ago. They beat the A's their last series. They had the Blue Jays before that. They had the Mets and the Angels, 2 last-place teams before the All-Star break. So, 4 of the last 6 series come against teams in last place, and the 5th came against a squad that's struggling in every way, even though they're not in last place. So the bullpen got used pretty good. Bullpen was great in Sacramento this week, but I think that bullpen's a little bit taxed now. If I'm playing, it's only the Dodgers, not the Red Sox. The Red Sox were a team absolutely to ride in July, and I know it's the last day of July. You can still get away with it. I would not be surprised at all. Again, Boston, great run, but as you mentioned, Andy, these runs do not go on forever, and the Dodgers are the better of these 2 teams, even in a bullpen game. At least that's this bettor's opinion.
Yeah, baseball's so wild, man. You have a team that looks like the worst team in the league for like 2 weeks, and then they rip off 15 straight. And like baseball is so weird, man. It's just such a strange sport.
But it speaks to my style of handicapping. All right. All I want to do is find teams that the full season stats say they should be here or here. Let me get in the camera. And in fact, they're playing here or they're playing up there. You know, when you find teams playing at a different level than their full season stats indicate, that's where you make money. That's where the marketplace lags behind current realities. And that's what I look for in baseball. That's what I look for in basketball. That's what I look for in football. Football is a little bit more spot based, but the bottom line is for the daily sports, your NBA, your MLB, when you find these teams whose stats and full season numbers say they should be here and they're at a different level for a week, for 2 weeks, for a month, whether good or bad, that's where you make your money.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So you mentioned you're already ripping these videos for NFL futures. They're up for WagerTalk Insiders. Someone asked, why are they behind a paywall? They're not behind a paywall. You don't have to pay to see them. They get released early to the insiders, and then they will be released to the public. So how many teams have you done so far?
So I did a dozen of them. I'm not sure they're all posted. Wow. All the last couple of days. With the preparation for the win report, and obviously the NFL season win report comes out today, noon Pacific time. But with the preparation for that, I'll sit down and I'll do a whole bunch more videos again next week. But the NFL content, as soon as August comes, people are interested. Last year I did them all in July, and we didn't get the response. It was a little bit too early. So this year I waited a little bit longer. We'll go at the beginning of August, but I spend all summer working NFL. That's what I do. It's been my pattern for the last 25 years. Hasn't changed this year. This year I might have worked harder because last year I lost with my season win report. I was really, I was unhappy with the process. I was unhappy with the results. And when you do something successfully for 25 years, not like every year was a winning year. I had 3 or 4 previous losing seasons, so it's not the only losing season I've ever had. But I've never had back-to-back losing seasons. When I have a bad year with you tweak a little bit. You don't take the whole process and throw it out. You just tweak. But the bottom line is I spent the last 6 weeks working NFL. I've got notes on every team up the wazoo. So I'm putting videos together that you guys can watch. And the first of them, the first group will be released early for insiders, but they were released to everyone. I think now they'll be up by noon Pacific time today, right there with the win total report that's coming out.
Do you know when the opening line report starts?
So I didn't do one for this coming Monday because there's only one game. We'll start with week 1 of the preseason. So It'll be the exact date on that would be the 10th.
Wild.
Monday the 10th of August.
All right.
And Kelly will be doing opening line reports from then every Monday right through the Super Bowl, 8 a.m. Pacific time, bright and early, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So be sure to watch that live every week right here on WagerTalk TV.
All right. What do you have up plays-wise at WagerTalk?
Well, the win report, man. I got a promo code, by the way, which we got to talk about. And the win report goes for $1.99. Again, the long-term track record has been pretty darn good. What do we got? 105 and 56 or 105 and 60, 106 and 65. It's 65% over a 25-year sample size, 77%, 17 and 5 with the big ticket reports. So this has been a very successful report for a long time. And it lost last year, and I'm pissed. Don't buy it. Do not buy my report. It's $1.99. You can get it right now. It'll be posted for everyone at noon today. But you can get my NFL full season for $5.99. That's going to get you every play from week 1 of the preseason through the Super Bowl. Prop report, every 5%. And there's no bait and switch. There's no nonsense we do with WagerTalk. You guys know. We don't BS anybody. We have the best customer service in the industry. So you can get the single report with the win total for $1.99. You get my full season for $5.99. And you can take $50 off the full season. By the way, the win report comes with the full season. That'll get you everything through the Super Bowl. Take $50 off. Use promo code Teddy50 at checkout. Again, Teddy50 at checkout gets you $50 off. So you get the win report and my full season for $5.49. The win report's $1.99. So you're really getting the season for like $350. I think that's a good deal. I expect to make money. I'm focused, and I'm got a pretty good track record in this sport.
I love it, Teddy. Yep. When opening line report first first episode comes out, that means football season's officially here. So thanks, Teddy. Appreciate it. Always good talking to you. Great breakdowns. Teddy covers everyone, working hard for the line report. We have a question. Can you parlay season totals? I can in my state, Teddy. I don't know if you can in Vegas. In Indiana, I have the DraftKings and FanDuel and all that stuff. So I can parlay alt lines on season win totals. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, I wouldn't see why you wouldn't be able to. However, in my career, I have never tried to parlay an NFL season win total. There's certainly when you have two teams from the same division and one you're going up and one you're going down, there's some correlation there. Books may jump, books may argue with that, but it's not necessarily a strong correlation. But it's nothing that I've ever tried to do. In my opinion, when you talk about full season wagers, the most important thing is cash that freaking ticket. Not let's go for a big score. No, let's cash your winning bet. So
okay,
maybe.
All right. The answer is yes, you can. I would say we would also add on there probably not the best way to parlay something. So, all right, Teddy, thanks very much. Have a great weekend. Take it easy. Teddy covers breaking down MLB and NFL. Now we got to bring on Marco Angelo. We're going to talk some WNBA. Marco, I broke down the Ravens, and in the chat, Slick Vic is loving your Pittsburgh Steelers. Says they're going to win more games than the Ravens. Do you have high expectations for your Steelers?
I do have some expectations. At the beginning, I wasn't exactly ecstatic with the Mike McCarthy hire, but the more I see what's going on in the moves they made in the offseason, it's kind of coming together, and I'm understanding it. So we'll have more on that. I believe August 12th, time to plug a shameless promo. The first edition of Bet On It will be filmed, and we will be doing season previews for both NFL and college. We'll look at all the divisions in the NFL and the big four football conferences as well. So you'll hear more about the Pittsburgh Steelers in that report, but I am liking the Steelers.
All right. I'm not high on my home team, the Colts. Them saying Daniel Jones is going to be fine to start the regular season is just laughable. He had a broken leg and a torn Achilles. No, he'll be fine. Yeah, sure. It's only the NFL. All right, we're going to break down some WNBA. We'll talk the Dallas Wings and the Washington Mystics. We'll save my Indiana Fever for last. But the Wings and Mystics, these teams to me are just meh. There's nothing that really jumps out to me about either one of them. Dallas -3.5, over under 167.5. What do you make of this matchup?
Well, we talked about Dallas last time I was on the show, and this is a team, I'll use the same opening line I did with them. This is a team that knows how to win right now. They're playing better basketball than they did last year, obviously, but they're still trying to learn how to cover spreads. They're 9-4 straight up their last 13 games, but they're just 5-8 against the spread over those 13 games. Dallas is coming off 3 barn burners in a row. They had a 99-98 gut-wrenching loss at New York, or to New York at home, I should say. Then they turn around, get a 101-97 win over Portland, a win in no cover, as that was sandwiched in between the New York game and Atlanta on deck. And then they played Atlanta to an 82-81 barn burner, losing in gut-wrenching fashion. So for me, this is a tricky spot for Dallas, coming off of those 3 games and now playing a Washington team. This is a Washington team this is also a fluky scheduling spot. I don't know who makes the WNBA schedules, and I scratch my head when I look at some of them, Andy. They go to Washington to play tonight. Then they come back home and play Connecticut, only to go back out on the road to Washington again. It's just, I don't understand the logic in that scheduling. Okay, so that starts it. And I like to look at different situations like that. Then I look to when these two teams have played already. And you go back, Washington suffered one of their worst defeats of the season when they went to Dallas and lost 92-69. It must be noted that whenever they did that, they were coming off upsetting Indiana and Caitlin Clark. You know how big, playing Caitlin Clark and the hype train that you have there. They beat them 104-102 in just just an amazing game. So obviously, yeah, they were fat and sassy, and they were flat when they played Dallas in that game. It also must be noted that that was only the fourth game of the season. And if you go back to the start of the season for Washington, they played 5 of their first 6 games on the road. Just horrendous schedule start for Washington. Again, bashing the WNBA and the schedule makers. So what I'm saying is, when these two teams played back then, there was a reason for Washington to play poorly. And if you look at the beginning of the season, this Washington team and the Washington team we have now, they're night and day difference. I'm going to go ahead and take the Washington team plus the points, grab them. And I look for this one to be another one goes right down to the wire with Dallas, is they just have a tendency to leave teams in games, but they find a way to pull it out at the end. But I'll grab the points here and take Washington.
NASCAR was the king of the dumb schedule back in the they would race like in Florida, then California, then Virginia, then Texas, then Michigan. It was like, do you guys just like driving? Like why
Apparently
are we
they
like
do.
just
That's
going
what
up
they
the
do.
coast? Yeah, but they drive enough on Sundays. We don't need to be driving Monday, Tuesday. Like, why just go up the coast? They gotten better, but it's pretty funny. Fatone wants to know, are your aces winning it all again this year, Marco?
No. They're gonna be a contender, but I really do think that there's 2 teams that are gonna have trouble getting through. We're gonna talk about one of the teams that's playing well right now and has been a thorn in the side of the Aces, especially this year, and that's the Indiana Fever's playing well if they continue to do that. And if they can find a little bit of defense to go with that offense, they're going to be deadly. But I still think the team that is the best team in the WNBA, they got their best player back. They played the whole year without her till just a week ago. Minnesota's going to be very tough out. Minnesota should have won the championship 2 years ago. They got robbed by the officials in New York. And last year, just a horrible break for them when Fisher Collier got hurt in the playoffs, lost, and that's what cost them the Phoenix series. And then Phoenix went on to play the Aces, and we know the Aces swept them. But I don't think they get through either. I don't think they get through Minnesota. Let's put it that way.
Well, let's talk about the Fever. And yeah, you're not kidding, man. This Fever team, holy cow, they got Caitlin Clark back, and they are an offensive juggernaut. I mean, just take the overs in the Fever games. I mean, these scores 105, 95, 123, putting up 123 points from WNBA. They're fun to watch. Their defense is a little suspect. Their only recent loss is the Valkyries, when the Valkyries on that red hot start. They're 8.5 versus the Portland Fire, who have struggled. A lot of guys in chat don't like watching the NBA. I'm just telling you, the Fever are a fun watch right now. Right now, they are appointment television. But what do you make of this game?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to tune in to see what Sophie Cunningham's going to do next.
Absolutely.
She finds her way into the drama all the time. And speaking of drama, and I'm not going to talk about the drama that we had over the weekend with the WNBA in the All-Star break, but I'm going to talk about, I want to get your take, Andy. Everybody, it's a talking point on social media right now, and everybody's crucifying the WNBA for Paige Beckers and Angel Reese making a side bet on the All-Star game. And they're trying to compare it to everybody else that's got suspended for betting through a sports book on actual sports games. Okay, stop for a second, all right? I know you guys want clickbait, but grow the F up, okay? It's not the same comparison. They're saying, well, this guy got suspended, that guy got suspended. This was two people that made a side bet betting on themselves in an all-star game for $400. Just stop already, okay?
I mean, this has gotten more attention than Chauncey Billups working with the mafia to rig poker games. That just got swept under the rug. Meanwhile, two people making side betting. That's good. Listen, and WNBA will take any attention they get, but this one's pretty silly.
Yeah, it is. But everybody in the social media is jumping up on their pedestal and saying, "Oh, they should be banned." And this, just stop already, okay?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
back to this game. These two met earlier in the year, and Indiana blasted them in the first meeting, 90-73. Then in the second meeting, Portland pulled an upset as an 11.5-point underdog. And I like to go back, look at the schedule. Was there anything out of the ordinary when they played? Well, when they played that second time, you had Indiana coming off a gut-wrenching loss to Golden State. Went right down to the final bucket of the game. Why that was a big game is it was one of those great, we talked about it. I hate them in the WNBA, those back-to-back games with the same team. So they were trying not to lose to the same team twice, and they lost in gut-wrenching fashion. Then they turn around and had a big game up after that. They played Atlanta next, one of the better teams in the WNBA. So you're coming off a gut-wrenching loss. You have a good team on deck, and then you're playing the expansion Portland team that you already beat by 17 points. That was what we call in a deli a sandwich game, and they were flat and unprepared. They lost that game. They're going to be ready this time. Also, if you talked about Portland, it seems to be struggling. They caught some teams by surprise at the beginning of the year, Andy. Why? Because it was an expansion team. All right. You had a mixture of players that, weren't protected from other teams. It put together. Nobody knew how this team was going to play. The coaching staff, the players, what were they going to do as a team together? So you didn't have a lot of game film to work on at the beginning of the season. Now you've played them, you've seen them, you know what to expect, and you know how to game plan for them. And that's why you're seeing Portland starting to struggle. And you're really seeing them struggle on the defensive end of the floor. They're one of the worst teams defensively in the WNBA. That is bad news if you got Indiana coming to town. As you talked about, the heater they're on offensively, scoring in their last 4 games, $110, $108, 123, 105. Yeah, good luck tonight. I think it's a game that's going to be on TV. It seems like, Indiana and the Aces are, the Kansas City Chiefs of football. If there's a TV game, they're going to find their way there. So look for another show tonight by that offense of Indiana, and I'm going to go ahead and lay it with your fever tonight, my friend.
I think that's the only way you can play it. You just can't get in front of this offense right now. So, all right, Marco, what do you have up for everyone? Did we have a question about? Is there any horse racing? I thought we had a question. I can't find it. Is there any horse racing you got this weekend?
There is a horse race tomorrow. I think it's. There's a big race at Saratoga. I'm blanking on it. I haven't done the Saratoga card yet, but we have been my all access clients have been getting it the last few Saturdays. We have been putting up spot horse plays included in our package, and that will once again be tomorrow. So I will cover the big race from Saratoga tomorrow, maybe something from Del Mar as well. Is Del Mar's in full swing as well. So that's bonus if you're on all access, either 3-day, even 1 day all access, whatever. And that 3-day, by the way, grab it while you still can. 3 days, $69. What happens? You get 3 bonus days, and you want to do it because right now, Andy, you know what we've been doing with the WNBA. It's been a 4-year run with that. Another winner last night, but the baseball's been on fire. We're on an 8-1 run in baseball, and tonight I've got a 4%. It's my baseball underdog game of the week. Get some plus money tonight with the play. So head over to WagerTalk. Either grab today's package or do the plus EV move. Buy 3, get 3 free. Can't beat it.
All right, Marco D'Angelo, appreciate it. Good luck on that play tonight. 4% underdog in Major League Baseball. Have a great weekend, Marco. Stay cool.
I'll try.
Cool. Try and stay
Friend.
cool out there. All right, bye, Marco. All right, great week of shows. Thank you to all the guests. Thank you to you guys in the chat. You guys crush it as always. I am in play with a 4% best bet that goes off tonight. All access clients are probably going to get a couple of plays. I promised everyone I would do PFL at the end, so I'll break. Let me give you a couple thoughts on PFL. Tough card. They lost a couple fights just like a day ago. The main event, Nurmagomedov, he probably dog bosses Colgan, but it's minus 535. Dakota Ditcheva by murder, but minus 625. You don't need me that. Money's kind of coming in on Dayron over Stotts. I agree with that move. Dayron was a play earlier in the week at minus 170. He's probably going to win. Other than that, I don't see you're always in a good spot if you're fading Montana De La Rosa, but you got to pay minus 250. Maybe that's a parlay. Pasternikova and Dayron, that's probably a pretty good parlay piece. And then bare knuckle, I will have a play. That is tomorrow. I like Jack Blair at minus 134. That's a pretty good play. That women's fight that starts off the card is going to be a lot of fun. I like the underdog, Sally McDonald. Don't know if that'll be an unofficial play of that. Mikey Nolan should beat the shit out of John Ferguson, who looks washed. And what was the other one? Oh, Lewis Keane at minus 180. I think Lewis Keane mops up Stu Martin in the co-main. So that's a bare knuckle fighting Newcastle. So, all right, thank you very much. 4% MLB play that goes up is up. 5% UFC play goes off tomorrow. We got a bunch of specials. Go to the specials page at WagerTalk. Get a 3-day pass. You get 3 days free. Get 30 days of my plays, and you're going to get all of Jan's plays, Jim's plays, Dan's plays. Dan will be back Monday. Hit the like button. Drop a comment. Thanks for watching. Good luck on your bets. We'll see you on Monday. Take care.